Alright, it is now day 14 of my plan to become the heaviest marathon runner in the world. I want to eventually run a 2.5-hour marathon while weighing over 220 pounds. As today is a Sunday, normally I only run, I don't do any lifting, and on this particular Sunday, I had a 5K scheduled, and it was a Tarentino Strong 5K in Auburn, Massachusetts. And I will say it was a terrible performance, but I mean, I did kind of what I expected to do, so I do think it was a success overall, even if the time was bad. I will say the conditions were also pretty bad. I mean, it wasn't a hilly course, so that part was easy, but the temperature was very high. I think the average was 88, high was maybe like 95 or something. It was about 90 degrees, I'd say. So not pleasant, but not really the worst either. I'll start by saying the time for it. It was, I think, about 31 minutes and 16 seconds. That's according to my my Garmin watch, which is more accurate than whatever they have, you know, from start to finish. I will also say that even though it's supposed to be, what, 3.1 miles, I think a 5K is 3.109 or something. The course was 3.2 miles, so it seems to be a little bit longer than a 5K. And I do believe that my Garmin's right, because it always said the same thing. It's always been 1.6 to one end, 1.6 miles back. So it was 3.2 miles total, and the average pace was 9 minutes and 46 seconds per mile. So that was probably about what I expected when I've been running outside. That's pretty similar to the times I've been doing, which of course is absolutely terrible, but it is what it is. Now, of course, the year before I ran that 5K, and I was a little bit faster, but I was in much better shape. But then I messed up the run by going too hard. So I was faster, but I was in much better shape and not faster by a lot. Last year I went way too hard in the beginning. It was like a 6-minute mile pace or something, trying to keep up with the guys in the front. And then my heart rate spiked to about 190. And then I was unable to recover, and I couldn't breathe or run after that point, and then I got sick. So even though I ran faster, I completely messed it up. So this time I was less focused on being faster than before. I gained 35 pounds, and I've only been running since I gained the weight for probably less than a month, probably like 2-3 weeks max. So I really am not conditioned to be running at all right now. So the only thing I cared about was staying consistent during the run, and I've been focusing on that during my actual runs outdoors. And I did say this before, I'm running based on heart rate, not based on effort. You can say that's effort, but I always feel like I want to run harder, so that's why I will redline, because even if my heart rate is in the 180s, I still want to run harder, and I feel like I can run harder, and I'm still not stressed out. But then next thing I know, my heart rate is 190, and then I crash and burn. So this time I was only trying to keep it steady, normally between 160 and 180. So if I see 180, I slow down a bit to bring it down. If it's 160, I might go a bit faster, and I like to hover somewhere in the 170s. So I did and I will say, so I averaged 172 for the heart rate. The high was 188, and that was on the final burst as I was almost done. But I was sitting for a lot of it around 182, but I felt very comfortable, so I wasn't too worried about that. I wasn't breathing heavy by any means. I wasn't even going fast, so it was like 9-minute, 46-second miles. So I really wasn't trying that hard, so I was very consistent. And like even the splits were almost identical. The first mile and the second mile were within half a second of each other. The third mile was 10 seconds slower. So very, very consistent pacing. So the time in general was really bad. It was like 31 minutes, but it was also longer than a typical 5K. It was 3.2 miles. I think it's supposed to be 3.1, if I'm not mistaken. But so it was a little bit longer, so not terrible pace for what I've been doing, but also a lot slower than it was before. This gives me hope that I'll be able to bring the time down very fast, because there was a point in time when this was my speed, but then I got a lot faster when I was 185 pounds. It's just when I gained 35 pounds, and the weight alone is going to raise your heart rate, and it's going to make it tougher to run. But hopefully it should normalize after a while and come back down. But because of the pain in my shins, I also stopped running. So now there's 35 pounds of extra weight, plus not training for the past 5 months, roughly, because I've been training for the past couple of weeks, but it was still maybe 5 months off. So that hurt the run pretty bad. And, you know, one other thing so the pace is very consistent, but one thing that is still problematic is the amount of time I spend on the ground, which is just a little bit longer than it should be. It's very typical for a heavy runner, but I still need to try to bring that down. So I'm maybe by increasing the number of steps per minute, but I need to figure that out. So overall, again, I was consistent, makes me much more comfortable for runs. I'm sure I could go a lot longer if I had to. It's just the time wasn't there, but it wasn't supposed to be there. And I will also say that this is almost good because, you know, I'm saying I'm on day 14 of the plan. So it's kind of like a new start. So I do expect faster progress than if I was really new to running, because I at least was a runner before. I'm just kind of new now because I gained 35 pounds and haven't been able to run for 4 or 5 months. So it's kind of like a new beginning. But of course, it makes it a lot easier for the plan if the starting 5K time is 31 minutes, because that's absolutely terrible. You know, if I started this running an 18-minute 5K, that'd already be very good. So, you know, you kind of catch me at the end of my training when I'm already almost there. So if you catch me when my 5K is at 31 minutes, you're pretty much catching me at the beginning in this channel. So you can see the progress as I work towards bringing it down. And I do think I can bring it down quite a bit. I would say, like, maybe at my peak, maybe I could do, honestly, probably 21 minutes if I train for 5Ks at my peak. I don't think it was faster than that, but because even then I was doing more interval training than actual steady pace, but the pace for a 21-minute 5K was very easy. And I think I would normally finish at, you know, at least 3 miles in 21 minutes. So even if I was doing intervals, it was faster. So regardless, I do think I'll make a lot of progress, but I am very, you know, pretty much at the beginning of my plan. A 31-minute 5K is absolutely terrible. So, but there's nowhere to go but up to get faster and better. And I'm just carrying a lot of muscle with it, so that definitely makes it harder to keep pace. I don't think I really need to say anything else about that. I mean, diet-wise, I definitely didn't eat enough today. I felt kind of sick after the 5K. You know, I think I overheated quite a bit. And then I just didn't feel right. I was having a tough time eating food. Had a headache. Felt a little nauseous. So, you know, my diet plan was a little bit slacking today. So I'll just make sure I catch up early in the week. But that was the first official 5K. I should probably sign up for more races later on. Either 5Ks or half marathons. It's too soon for marathons, I'd say. But it still needs to be on the list. I can still do a decent number of miles without fatiguing too much, so it is very possible that I'll get to the marathons at some point in the year. I'm just not promising myself yet. You know, one step at a time. You know, I did still have shin pain after the run, not during it, but a little bit of a burn after. So, you know, even though I am able to run now, my body is still adapting to an extent. So it's still something I need to progress slowly on before I promise a marathon to myself or to the channel. So overall, it was the first 5K, but definitely need to work on it. And that's all I'm going to say for this video. So I'm going to end it now.